Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today I'm showing you my 5 top most used eyeshadow palettes of 2025 so far. I cannot believe that June is almost over. I've been tallying how frequently I've been using which palettes, and I'm going to share with you what my top 5 most used are for this year. So if that sounds good to you, keep on watching. Before we get too far into the video, if you have not already, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It's totally free to subscribe, and I would love to have you back again on the channel for all things makeup. Thank you so much to everyone who's already subscribed. I just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I think this is in July going to be my 8-year anniversary of uploading on this channel, so it has been a long time coming. So thanks so much to everyone who continues to watch, support, subscribe, like my videos. It truly means a lot, so thank you. Alright, now, surprisingly, none of these palettes are like brand new releases or anything. Anything that I have that's new-ish, I haven't used as much. I don't know what that says, but that's where we are. Also, I will say this year so far, I have used, let me fact check myself here, I have used 58 different palettes so far this year, and that's just palettes. There's been several months, if you've watched my monthly palette rankings, where I haven't had as many palettes this year to rank because I've used singles as well. So that's 58 palettes plus singles I've used this year. So these are truly my most used palettes, but that doesn't mean I've necessarily used them a lot of times, right? Because if I've used 58 palettes, maybe I've used them 1 or 2 times, you know, and so my most used aren't a ton still, if that makes any sense, hopefully at all. So I'm going to tell you from least used to most used, the top 5. In spot number 5 is one that I only used 3 times, but that still beat out most of the things I've used this year. I like to switch my makeup almost daily. I try to stay usually with the same like blushes, bronzers, foundations, stuff like that to make a dent in things. Eyeshadow is usually the thing that I like change out on a daily basis. So this one I think I got 3 uses in only because I'm pretty sure this is the only palette I packed with myself for a work conference at the end of January, early February. So I got 3 days use out of it in a row from a work conference. And it is the Fenty Cosmetica Fighter palette. I don't know if I've used this palette since that conference, to be honest with you, but it is good. I love that even though it's neutral, it's got this mustard tone, is really, really nice. And even though you've got like this reddish one, I remember still to this day getting compliments on Fervor, this shade. Such a good shade. Here, let me swatch it for you. It's not really, I don't know, it's somewhere between a copper and a bronze. It's not as bronze or copper as Victory. There's Victory, the more orangey one, so it's more red leaning, but the shimmers in this are so pretty. And Fervor has like silver reflect. I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but it's like a reddish base with silver in it. So pretty. Like I said, I got so many compliments when I wore it because I remember I ended up using it twice because I liked it so much the first time. But you can go just like regular neutral too. There's a little bit of a blue shift in this shade, which I think is really pretty with the gray. Just a pretty darn versatile palette for being that it's only a 9 pan. And it was fun, but still like neutral and professional, I think is the best way I could put it. Love Fenty Cosmetica, so that one makes sense, and I'm happy it's one of my most used, albeit I've only used it 3 times this year. Next up is a palette I used 4 times. There are actually 2 palettes I used 4 times, and these 2 surprised me. I did not realize that I used either of these this many times. First up from UNearly Cosmetics is the Surrender palette. Now this was a limited edition for Valentine's Day, I think 2 years ago. It wasn't even this last February that it was put out, but I think I did like a Bingo of Shame or a Duped. I think that's what it was. I think it was a Bingo of Shame or a Throwback Thursday or something collab on Instagram, and I used this to dupe, I think it was like the Natasha Denona Love palette or something like that, the color story. I used some shades in here, but here's what it looks like. And I remember whatever look I came up with for my post, I liked so much that I recreated it for Valentine's Day. I remember wearing it to work and people complimenting me and being like, oh, that's so cute. You like matched your makeup with the holiday, which I'm like, well, of course I did, but you know, I guess that's not a normal thing people do. It's a normal thing I do. But I really love, again, that this has not only neutral tones, but it has pinky rosy tones. The addition of this bright pop of red and this purple, I think, gives you a lot more to do. You can deepen things up a little bit with the berry and the brown here. And yeah, I just used this more times than I thought and reminded myself how good it is. And both Chemise, I don't know how you say it, and Generous, both of those I remember using as blush shades too, and those working for my skin tone. So an oldie, but still one that I really, really do like. The other one that I used 4 times was one I got, I'll leave it linked in my latest Melt mystery box. This is the Brunette palette that when I unboxed it, I was like, I don't even remember them having this palette. Like, it slipped under my radar somehow. And she's basic. She's a basic neutral girly. But it's not too warm leaning, I think, is what I've decided I liked about this, because I kept using it and was like, what is it about this? Even the shimmers, there's more of like a taupe. There's a couple warm things, but it's more of a taupe vibe, and I really like that. Because everything, I feel like warm tone doesn't look bad on me, but it always just ends up looking a little orangey. And this didn't do that. And I feel like the shimmers in this one are better than a lot of the shimmers in other Melt palettes that I've tried. There's only 3 shimmers in it. But yeah, this is just like a very easy 2-3 shades and you're out the door, but it still looks really nice. The mattes especially blend so easy in this one. So not a palette I was seeking out, came to me through a mystery box and has ended up being one of my most used, surprisingly. Okay, we got the neutral Nellies out of the way. It shouldn't be a surprise that the palettes, though, that I've really used more and have been drawn to are more colorful. So my next palette I used 5 times, and this was also one that came to me through a mystery box. This was from the Odin's Eye mystery box that I did earlier this year, so this one is newer to my collection, even though it's not a new release. I'll leave that video linked if you're interested in seeing everything I got in it. But I got this one, the Spring Dragon palette. This is a collab with Judy that Odin's Eye did. It just looked too muted to me in photos, I think, is why I wasn't interested in this. But these pastels actually show up incredibly well. I feel like a lot of pastels kind of poof and fade away to nothing on my fair skin. These show up, and the shimmers are really stinking pretty. They're very reflective. They're not all, like this one right here, what is this shade Long, is not as special as the others. It's fine. It's just like a regular shimmer, but the other ones have a lot more texture and are more duochrome-y and a little sheer, more like toppery shades. And I do love the most about this that there is a brown to deepen up the looks. And I think that that brown goes with really any of the color, where you do brown and purple, brown and blue, brown and yellow, brown and green. Like, you can really go anywhere with it. And yeah, this one, especially in spring, I used a whole bunch. And I really, really like this one, hence why I kept reaching for it. Okay, my most used palette is 10 times. And I have to say with the disclaimer, yes, I like this palette, but it's not top because it's my favorite of everything I've used this year. This truly is used the most times because it was in my Deck of Panning series. I'll leave that linked if you're interested. Deck of Panning series is a series where you try to use what you have and you set goals for yourself. And I had a goal for myself to use this 10 times this year. So I was actively kind of making myself go back to it, even if I didn't necessarily really want to. And I did meet that goal. So that's why I've used it 10 times, which is the most of any palette, just because of that project. So this is the Odin's Eye collab with Angelica Round 2, the Trick or Treat palette. Now, all of that disclaimer said, I do really like this palette, and I liked it a lot more when I came back to it now than when I originally tried it, tested it out, reviewed it, whatever you want to call it. I remember when I first filmed with the pair of Halloween palettes being like, they're fine. I don't like them as much as Round 1. And then coming back to it, I think maybe I didn't like it as much because in my mind I was looking for a Halloween release. Yeah, the theme is Halloween, but like, I mean, I get maybe like candy corn vibes. The color story is not particularly Halloween to me. But using it now at the first half of the year when it's not Halloween, that actually worked in my favor. I did a lot of monochromatic green. I did some yellow, some orangey red, a little bit of like burgundy and mint, like some fun color combinations that were definitely not Halloween in my mind, but that was okay. Once I stopped thinking of it as a Halloween palette, it had a lot more options. And the shimmers are really cool. Let's see, Trick or Treat is my favorite from this one. It looks just like kind of like a burgundy shimmer. But much like the reasoning I said why I liked that one shade in the Fantasy Cosmetica palette, it's a red, but it's got both gold and silver reflect. It's this one on the end here. Within the shimmer, hopefully you can see a little bit there. And I love that when there's like different multicolored reflect in addition to the base color. It just makes it look like you're wearing a whole bunch of shade and makes it makes your eye look seem more complex and layered and intricate and dimensional than it really is because it's one shade. So it makes it less work for you, but makes it look really cool. And that's what I love about, I think, the shimmers in this palette. So yeah, those are all of my top 5 used palettes so far this year. What do you guys think? I'm surprised I have 2 from Odin's Eye. Surprised I have Melt in there at all. They're all indie brands. That's the one thing that is not surprising to me because I almost exclusively just use indie brand eyeshadows, if I'm going to be honest. It's pretty, like 95% of the time going to be indie eyeshadow palettes. So yeah, I will do this again at the end of the year. Because what I have found the last couple of years I've done this is my most used at this point in the year are not my most used by the end of the year. So I'm curious to see what the second half of the year brings for us. I'll of course have my June monthly ranking of everything I've used this month coming up soon, so stay tuned. Thanks so much if you made it all the way to the end, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!